back, listeners, to the BizBlend podcast where business, mindset, and transformation intersect. I'm your host, Sana, as always, and listeners, today's conversation is for anyone navigating through those messy middle moments in life. No, I'm not talking about midlife crisis. It's whether you are pivoting careers, stepping into retirement, or you are facing an empty nest, or maybe you're trying to lead through major organizational changes. This conversation is for you. And our guest today is someone who knows exactly what it means to rise from life's turning points and build brick by brick something powerful on the other side. Listeners, meet Tracy Nannery, widely known as the More Mentor. She has coached thousands, led transformative keynotes and retreats, and she has developed the Thrive Method, which is a powerful framework to help people move from simply existing in change to truly thriving through transformation. And her own journey from becoming the youngest and the first female COO of a large organization to a moment that completely upended her trajectory, revealed a critical truth. You always have a choice. So, today we are diving into the truth about transitions, the myths that keep us stuck, and how to reclaim momentum when life throws you into the unknown. So let's quickly get into it. So, Tracy, welcome to the show, and I'm really, really honored to have you with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Sana. That was a lovely intro, and I'm so excited to be with you and your listeners today. What a blessing.
Wonderful, wonderful, Tracy. I'm really happy that I'm able to, have this conversation with you because this is something very near and dear to my life as well. So, Tracy, you say most people settled for existing in change instead of thriving in transformation. What exactly is the difference here? What exactly does it mean? And how can someone recognize which one they are in?
Yeah, so Sana, I think it all starts with first, I think a hard truth for most of us and probably most of the people listening, and that is that we have a major addiction, and it is an addiction to our to-do list. We are so addicted in our day-to-day to-dos, that even when we're going after big, like level 3 type goals, goals we've never achieved before, or we're stuck in a change, a transition. Maybe we chose, maybe we didn't choose. We're so focused on putting the items down we need to do that we forget to step back and take a moment and think about who we need to be. So if we could step out of that to-do list for just a minute and step into the to-be list, I believe that is at the heart of where true transformation and the ability to move from surviving to thriving lies.
Yeah, that's really a good one. From to do to be list. Wow, I'm gonna take that. Great. Hey, Tracy. Um, okay, and this is interesting. You developed the Thrive method after a life-altering moment, just after, sorry, before becoming CEO. If you can share that moment with all of us, if it's okay with you, and also, what kind of learnings you got from that, life-altering moment, and how it led to you developing the Thrive method.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, sometimes two things exist at the same moment, a really positive time and a really trying time. And that was happening for me in 2010 when I was heading out the door. It was early in the morning in Virginia Beach, Virginia, cold January day, believe it or not, in the South. And I was heading out the door early to begin my official role and position as the youngest and first female chief operating officer, overseeing 18 locations in an international and online division. And I had such a sense of pride, such a sense of accomplishment. My two young children were asleep upstairs and my husband, and there was such peace. And in that same moment, I would quickly learn that, my husband was having an affair. And so over the next several weeks, as divorce became inevitable, I knew I had a choice to make. That I could either stay stuck in the floor, kinda stay stuck in Groundhog Day, barely surviving, which I had done before during some transitions, or I could get up, I could dust off everything I had learned by coaching thousands, by implementing 5 strategic plans, and by doing a ton of research and education and really take this as an opportunity to thrive forward. And so that's what I did. And I started kind of documenting what I had seen in people that went through transitions and came out on the other side, just a totally new version, just thriving, versus what I saw in people that stayed stuck. And so I started to develop and test and research even further this method, which really became a 3-part process to leverage at any point in your life, whether it's big level 3 type goals that you've never achieved before, or if it's a major life transition, early retirement, becoming an empty nester, becoming a parent to a, aging parent, a divorce, a relationship change, a career change. This method really helps you to navigate through those transitions and through those big goals that you have.
I mean, Tracy, first of all, that was really shocking. Um, I mean, yeah, and secondly, yes, sometimes, as you mentioned, personally, and then becoming a parent to our aging parents, some of these transitions they can happen simultaneously within our lives, and they can really, really throw us off rail, throw us off track. So yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing that. And I really imagine, not imagine exactly. In fact in that place as well, that we as women we often feel that pressure to keep it all together through personal and professional change, because any form of self-expression or a burst out, or it kind of is stereotyped that you have gone crazy, that lady has gone crazy. We get to hear that. um I mean, and yeah, or maybe she's having some hormonal changes. That is disgusting, but in my situations I've heard that. What role does vulnerability play in getting unstuck, Tracy? And why do we resist it so much?
I think we have so many myths that we grew up believing, and they vary a little bit by person. The myth that we're supposed to be emotionally strong and handle everything and just keep going through the motions and have to-do lists that are pages long and be able to put on a happy face and look the part. I think is certainly one. I had a big myth that, the only way to have a family that was happy and thriving was to have a mom and a dad that lived together in a traditional marriage. We have a lot of myths around what age you should retire or what menopause should look like. We have a lot of myths that we have just accepted. And I think when we take the power back and start challenging those and what it means for us, it's not law. And so, our ability to say, what does this look like for me? What does the other side of what does menopause look for me? My body's changing, my hormones are changing, but also I'm maturing, right? And so what does it look like for me? And then I think implementing and developing practices and surrounding ourselves with people that give us the space to be vulnerable, to feel our feelings, to have time to meditate and reflect and have time to visualize what the next, version, the best version of us, the best version of our life looks like and how we get there. And with that excitement and that vision, I think everything else falls into place.
Hmm. Yeah, that really resonates deeply, Tracy. And from the workplace perspective, and this is, I think, much more relevant when we are talking in the context of the pandemic, the layoffs, the quiet quitting, the quiet firing. I mean, organizational change, it can cause collective stuckness. I'll be very honest, Tracy. At one point of time, I was going through layoff. I was going through parenting my aging parents, taking care of them, and then also kind of I was in that position where I was not able to give them that news because I imagined that how heartbreaking it will be for them. I'm anyway
Mm,
internally suffering, but for them, it will be much more harder and tougher.
mm,
So, how can leaders in the workplace or managers what they can do to help their teams not just adapt but grow through the uncertainty? Maybe they have to, like take those hard decisions to let their team members go, but is it possible that, they can help uh, them to figure out things outside of the workplace?
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of companies have added resources, which, I certainly applaud. I think one big missed opportunity in, corporate America, certainly in the United States, is the linking to a greater cause. We don't do a lot of work in corporate America around linking individual purpose, which I define as the best of who you are to help others. It's about leveraging that. It's career agnostic. You can use your purpose at any point in your life, and it's really what leads to a fulfilled life. And I think that companies often have a vision, they have this vision of where the company is going, but where the missed opportunity is the ability to link employees to that. And when people are linked and they see how they individually can contribute and it gives them a sense of fulfillment, that is such a positive that no matter what they're going through also in their personal life, they're gonna feel some fulfillment every day because they know that the work they're doing matters and it's linked to the vision. So I think that's one missed opportunity. I think the other missed opportunity, and this is, I related so much when you were talking, Sana, about I was very similar. I was going through early retirement because we were changing CEOs and I needed more time with my mom. My dad had passed away. So I decided to go ahead and retire. And I had relationships for 30 years. So my relationships were changing. My career was changing. I was becoming a parent to my mom. My daughter was going to college, so becoming an empty nester. And I was going through hormonal changes, so it was a lot at once, a whole lot at once. Um, and so I totally related to what you said. I think one of the things that I had to work on myself on, and I realized was an opportunity in the corporate world, is to help people identify those limiting beliefs, those myths, those things that are getting in the way of what they wanna accomplish and what they wanna achieve, things that are no longer serving them. And I help clients, I call it the ACT method, the ACT method, but it propels us into action. But it's first becoming aware of those thoughts, those beliefs, those paradigms, those things that are holding you back. And oftentimes you'll find those in things you're procrastinating that you know you should be doing, the things you're putting off that you know you want to do, the things you're making excuses for or complaining about. A lot of times, those reoccurrences will tell you about something that is limiting your mindset, there's a belief there that is no longer serving you. And once those are identified, now you can go to the C, which is you can challenge it. So you said you didn't tell your parents about the layoff because of the impact to them. I didn't tell my parents that I was separated for about 3 months. Now that was hard because they came to my house a lot. But I had this belief that it was gonna hurt them so much, and I didn't wanna bring any concern or worry to them. So I had to challenge, was that belief true? I had to consider what else might be true. So that's really the kind of the C, piece of things. And then once I challenged it and thought about what else might be true, now I could turn it over and I could turn it into a different belief, the opposite belief that would serve me. And for me, that was that families that thrive are because of values, they're because of love, they're because of time together. They have nothing to do with an organizational structure of a mom and a dad that live in the same household. And so I think corporations can use simple methods like that to work with their employees to help them get to a place where their beliefs and their mindset are serving them, not limiting them.
True, true. It's inspiring, Tracy. And before we wrap up, since you have coached thousands of women, what's the one mindset shift, or maybe more than one, that you wish every person facing a major life change could internalize today?
Um, I think the very first thing is to rip up that to-do list for a moment
Yeah.
and think about it being a year from now. Think about, it's this time next year and the best possible outcomes have occurred. And write a letter to yourself describing that in great detail. Who are you with? What have you accomplished? What does life look like? What big hurdles did you overcome? What are you enjoying right this minute? What are you celebrating? Who are you with? Get really specific and really detailed and give yourself freedom to explore what that looks like. Because with that ultimate target, with that actual destination in mind, now we can get to work on the to do. We can get to work on how you're going to do it, what resources you need, and we can begin to implement. And then I would bookend that, which is the V and the E of the Thrive method, by what beliefs do I need to adapt and which ones do I need to overcome to accomplish that? And then E, how do I embody it right now as if that life is already mine? Because it is. It is already yours. It's just stepping into it. And so I think when we realize the power that we hold in our mind, I also coach people in thoughts are results. When we understand the power of our mental faculties, imagination, will, reasoning, memory, perception. When we understand the power of those to change and overcome those limiting beliefs and create the next version, how powerful that is, and how much, the power we had the power all along, right? Dorothy, Wizard of Oz.
Mhm.
We do. And so I think when they can step into that and they can give themselves a little freedom to dream for a second before they go into action mode, everything else changes.
That's bold. That's bold, Tracy. Wow, great. And if our listeners would like to connect with you and get, to explore more about your Thrive method and, share their thoughts with you, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, I would love that so much, and I love hearing from my viewers. I love hearing their feedback. I love hearing the challenges they're going through and helping them through that is just certainly my calling. So they can connect with me on any social media channel, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. The More Mentor, the THE, More MORE, and then Mentor MENTOR. They can connect with me there. They can send me a message. I host a lot of webinars. I've been working with a group lately on how to thrive in weight loss. I was able to put the method to test and lose 80 pounds. And so after a lifelong 50-year challenge, to be honest. So right now I've been helping a lot of people with that, as well as career changes and just big life relationship transitions, whether it's with parents, spouses, or friendships. Friendships evolve over time. So I would love to help others through it. I'd love to hear their stories. It's just so powerful when we come together as a collective group.
Wonderful, wonderful, Tracy. And I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes. And thank you so much, Tracy. This was indeed such an inspiring episode for me. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing your beautiful audience with me and allowing me to spend just a few minutes with them and perhaps touch somebody that needed to hear the message.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to all the listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning into BizBlend. And if today's episode sparked something in you, I guess this is what I have to say. Transitions, they don't define you. What you do with them, it does. Until next time, Keep blending purpose with progress and keep tuning into BizBlend. This is your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.